Good morning. Good morning. We're going to get started here. Welcome, everyone. My name is Jake O'Leary. I lead up the Health and Life Sciences Solution business here within Cloud and AI at Microsoft. I'm going to be joined in a little bit on stage by Dr. Julie O'Connor, who's one of my colleagues. She's going to come out here and show you some cool stuff. We're here today to talk to you about the possibilities of AI and co-pilots in healthcare, the impact it can make in healthcare, solving some of the most difficult, painful challenges the industry is facing. And we're going to talk about some of the outcomes and experiences as we're changing lives for clinicians and improving care and patient experiences as well. All right, so I realize not everyone in the room here is probably necessarily deeply steeped in healthcare, and might not fully appreciate some of the challenges and the opportunities that face the industry. Look, we're all patients. I'm sure we can appreciate that. And patients today, the expectations of patients are higher than ever. They have technology improving and changing their lives all around them every day. They have more access to information than ever. And when they show up to engage with their health, they have increasing expectations how information and technology is going to be improving those experiences as well. For clinicians, we're dealing with workforce shortages in the industry. Clinicians are reporting that 50% of clinicians feel burnt out in their profession. That's contributing to clinicians leaving the profession at an alarming rate. And there are some studies out there and some forecasts even that by 2030, there's going to be a 10 million shortage in the industry of frontline workers. That's pretty scary to think about. Also, healthcare, like many industries, has gone through the digital information age and transformation. We have seen an explosion in the creation of data, both structured and unstructured data, yet not all that data is being tapped into to improve care, improve outcomes, lower costs. There's still a lot of opportunity there. And then last, like many industries, healthcare is, though, a particular target. Security and privacy risks are rising. And this is on the minds of every healthcare organization, clinicians and patients. And so these are some daunting challenges, but AI is definitely a means to ease these burdens and support the people that make healthcare possible, and also improve care and patient experiences as well. And that's what we're going to talk about here today. All right. So as healthcare organizations work to address their biggest challenges, AI is at the forefront. It offers capabilities with the potential to unlock $1 trillion in unrealized improvement. And it's not just about efficiency gains. It's about transforming the way that healthcare professionals engage with their work. AI can allow healthcare professionals to focus on what truly matters, which is delivering the highest possible care to their patients, which is what they should be focused on. And we're in this new era of AI, right? Generative AI in the last couple of years has certainly really bred a lot of advancements and disruptions across many industries. It's no different than healthcare. And to that end, so far in these early days, we're already seeing over a 3x return for every $1 invested into AI investments. And equally encouraging, the American Medical Association has done a study, and they report that 2/3 of physicians recognize the advantages of AI, and particularly in helping them reduce administration burdens. And the same is true of nurses. They see the potential of AI in helping them with the administration tasks and improving the care that they can provide, allowing them to focus on patients more. And all of this directly connects to the mission of Microsoft, right? Which is our mission is to empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more. This is our North Star. It guides daily decisions, priorities, and the investments that we make. And we believe that in healthcare, AI is essential to unlocking and realizing this mission. The tools are available to healthcare organizations today to reshape how they approach care and transform the way that they engage with their patients. And so, to help us realize this mission in healthcare, we've been making significant investments, strategic investments, that directly align to the needs of healthcare. That includes dedicated engineering and research teams, industry-adapted responsible AI, and of course, an industry-specific partner ecosystem to realize this outcome. And all of this is underpinned by the Microsoft Global Security, Privacy, and Compliance commitment that we have with our customers. And so our healthcare platform, it ultimately delivers the speed, scale, and reach for both today's healthcare demands and the future needs. And through the acquisition of Nuance, we've expanded our reach and our footprint. And we have over 650,000 clinicians today leveraging one of our solutions and applications. 80% of US hospitals today are working with us. And this sets us up and uniquely positions us to connect data, insights, and innovations across healthcare. And on the security side, we process 78 trillion daily security signals. Right? That's mind-numbing. And we have 34,000 engineers activated to help secure and are dedicated to securing our customers' data. And so every day, our healthcare experts, my own team, and others, are working to meet the highest standards of security and compliance to serve healthcare. And with that, we have the Microsoft Cloud for Healthcare to help us meet the needs of the market in this industry. And our commitment is to help healthcare organizations innovate responsibly. And we embed security and integrity at every layer of the Microsoft Cloud for Healthcare stack, from infrastructure up through AI, up through the applications at the top. And we're building with security, privacy, and trust at the core of every layer of that stack. So whether you're an organization that's looking to host and run your own AI applications, you're looking to leverage one of our off-the-shelf solutions or applications, or you're ready to build your own AI solutions and applications or co-pilots, we're here to meet you where your organization is today. And we believe that AI must be trustworthy, but that's only possible when our commitments and our capabilities come together. And to that end, that has led us to make deep investments across security, privacy, and safety. And so, for example, in security, last November we launched our Secure Future initiative, where we activated 34,000 engineers across Microsoft to help make our customers more secure. When it comes to privacy, we all know data is at the core and central to AI. And Microsoft's priority is to help ensure customer data is protected and compliant through our privacy principles. And then when it comes to safety, in 2018, we introduced Microsoft's responsible AI principles. And this helps change and infuse and ensure that when we're developing, releasing, testing the software and the services that we expose in the Microsoft Cloud for Healthcare, that we do so in a responsible manner. It's critical for AI, right? It's not just enough for us to unleash AI and innovate on AI to the industry. We must do so in a trustworthy manner. And we take that commitment very seriously. And so AI is everywhere. AI is for every organization and across every healthcare organization right now. And our mission is to make AI accessible to everyone so that every healthcare organization can benefit from its potential. And to that, we're going to hit on a few industry examples of some of the outcomes that we're delivering. And I'll cover a couple of these. So Amgen, they started with Copilot and they started with 300 licenses, and they rapidly expand to 20,000 licenses. And that's impacting and changing their workflows from the back office to the lab. Teladoc, they're using Microsoft Copilot in their virtual health operations, telehealth operations. Their employees are seeing on average 5 hours of savings per week. That amounts to thousands of hours per year annually across their 6,000 employees. And then Northwestern Medicine, they're using Dragon and its Copilot capabilities, and that's what we're going to talk about later on in this session. And clinicians at Northwestern, they're seeing a 24% reduction in the time spent on clinical documentation and a 17% reduction in pajama time. And for those not in the industry or familiar with the term pajama time, this is a term that the industry has coined, unfortunately, for when clinicians have to take their work home at night and deal with administration tasks at night and on the weekends, and they're not spending time with their family because they're under so much from a demand perspective to keep up with the needs of their population and their patients, but also deal with the administration tasks. And so just a few years ago, these outcomes, they would have seemed out of reach, but they're here today, and it's just the beginning. All right, I'm going to show you a brief clip that just shows the Microsoft Copilot integrated across the business in the industry, helping with productivity gains in healthcare. All right. So now we're going to go a little bit deeper. We're going to go deeper into clinical workflows and how AI is changing and improving in clinical workflows in healthcare. And this is an area, this is where myself and my team, this is directly connected to our mission and where we spend our time and our focus. And to really help everyone understand the opportunity here and the challenges, I just want to set the stage and give you an experience that we're all patients, that many of you have probably experienced yourselves, either part of this or your family members. I've certainly experienced this. We're patients, and we have, we go to show up for an office visit to meet with our provider. It's not uncommon to find ourselves waiting probably well past our scheduled time in the waiting room or in the exam room to see our provider. And it's not because our providers are just not punctual people, it's because they're dealing with all of the demands from a care perspective, the amount of patients they need to see, the volume of patients they need to see, and the administration burdens and tasks that they have to get done in their day. And then when it is time to finally see our clinician, we find sometimes we're wondering, as the clinician might be focused on the computer, either putting information into the computer in front of them or looking up information in the computer, we might be wondering, are they fully getting everything I'm saying? Is their attention fully with me? And then we go home, and if we're lucky enough to have a provider or a physician that provides after-visit summaries that represent what we discussed and the care recommendations and treatments, we might notice that not all the details or the full richness of the story and information might not be fully there or might not even be fully correct. And so that is exactly at the heart of where we are driving impact and we see opportunity. And those pain points, as I said, half of clinicians, they're feeling burnt out. 50% of their day is spent on documentation. That's crazy, right? They see 20 or more patients a day. And some providers and some specialties, it's many more. And they're trying to balance care and those administration tasks, running from patient to patient. Half of clinicians, as I said, they feel burnt out. It's impacting their well-being, patient care. And as patients, far too often, we don't remember all of the information that was discussed. 40 to 80% of the information could be forgotten, some studies are showing. And these issues, they impact the entire health system, from clinician satisfaction, patient satisfaction, to the bottom line of the healthcare system. So we need to address these issues. This is where Dragon comes in. Dragon is a platform that provides Copilot capabilities to offer voice and conversation capture, documentation creation to help with those clinical notes, data extraction capabilities, like, for example, to help a provider with the orders, the medical orders that they need to place for treatments and care. And even data transformation capabilities, like producing that highly accurate and complete after-visit summary. It's a powerful AI companion to improve clinician experiences, satisfaction, patient experiences, and operational efficiencies. Dragon Copilot brings together really a suite of purpose-built copilots for healthcare professionals. So for physicians, we're automating that note creation and some of the clinical tasks that they need to perform. For nurses, we're helping them as they round at the bedside, for example, in the hospital, to populate flow sheets and deal with other administrative tasks and data capture tasks. And for radiologists that might be in the back room reading your MRIs and your X-rays in that dark room, well, they also have to produce clinical documentation to capture their findings. And so we're helping them be more accurate, improve quality, and more efficient. And these tailored solutions ultimately ensure that each role has the tools that they need to be effective, efficient, and they can focus on patient care. And with Dragon, our copilots ultimately are there to meet the needs of clinicians where they are across workflows. And Dragon can help them explicitly capture or state clinical information. It can help them in that multi-party office visit setting where they need to capture the story of an office visit and produce clinical notes. And it provides free-form voice editing and content transformation capabilities and access to knowledge across care settings. And so this flexible tool, it's being used by clinicians, whether they're a primary care clinician, or they're clinicians that are in the hospital setting, or the ED setting, or the emergency department, or other specialized care settings. And the outcomes that we've been delivered in the last year plus since this product has been in market are staggering. They're real, hard outcomes that matter. Time savings, reducing burnout, increased clinician satisfaction, helping to improve clinician retention, helping to increase access to care, improve care, improving patient satisfaction. Clinicians get more time back to spend with their patients and more personal time back to also spend with their loved ones. And these outcomes, they also help the bottom line, right? They increase revenues. They help with things like authorizations and reimbursements, reducing denials, and ultimately it helps organizations deal with higher patient volumes. And when you hear the voices of clinicians that have experienced Dragon, there's 2 quotes here on the slide. I personally seen hundreds of quotes like this come in. I mean, we are changing lives. Their own experience show how AI is changing their day-to-day work and transforming it. They're more productive. They're getting that time back. It's helping them focus on patients. This is real impact of AI in healthcare. And for that, I'm going to ask Dr. Julie O'Connor to come up, do a live demonstration, so you can see this in action. So Julie, welcome.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Hi, everyone. So my name is Julie O'Connor, and I've been told I'm soft-spoken, so if you can't hear me, just do this, and I'll try to speak as loud as I can. So my background, I'm a family physician. I work here at Microsoft as a solution consultant, and I get the pleasure of sharing with you a demonstration of part of that Dragon platform, specifically our ambient AI solution. And what that does is it takes the clinical conversation between the provider and patient and automatically drafts a clinical note from the conversation, which is pretty incredible. And to that end, the best way to demonstrate it is to do this mock clinical encounter for you so you can see live how that translates into a note. So I have somebody from the audience. As you guys came in, we picked somebody to play my patient today. So I'm going to have my new friend, Olga, come out on stage. We have her mic'd up.
Hello, everyone.
And I am going to switch over and show you my computer screen so you can follow along live. All right. So hopefully you'll see an image of my cell phone. So this is my cell phone where I have the technology. Now I'm in the ambient AI application, and from here, I'm actually going to record the conversation that I have with Olga. So a few things that you should know about the demonstration. So what I do is I'm going to have you come in and see me for some sort of acute issue.
Okay.
I will layer in a chronic issue. I'll kind of throw that in too for complexity, but I'll guide you along that. And I do purposely bring in some chit chat so you guys can see how non-clinical information is handled as well.
Okay.
How does that sound?
Sounds great.
Okay. And I make everybody 35. Is that okay?
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get us started here. So I am seeing Olga, who is a 35-year-old female here today for an acute issue. So tell me, Olga, what's going on?
Well, I snuck out of the conference. I mean, we're in Chicago, and the Magnificent Mile, but I did discover that shopping is a very dangerous sport. I tripped and I hurt my wrist, and I think I might have sprained it.
Okay, so I see you pointing to your right wrist.
Yes.
Is that the wrist that hurts?
Yes.
Okay. So you tripped, and did you try to catch yourself?
I did.
Okay.
I think I bent it backwards.
Okay, and when did this happen?
Yesterday.
Yesterday, okay. And where in the wrist does it hurt? Is it the outside, the inside?
Yeah, it mostly kind of right here where it bends,
Okay.
so like where my ulnar is.
So the outside of the wrist,
Yeah.
And up the lower forearm.
A little bit, yes.
Okay. Have you noticed any swelling or redness, anything like that?
A little bit of swelling.
Okay.
But I mean, I can move it, so it's
That's
just
good.
a little stiff.
Now, have you tried anything for it? Ice, ibuprofen, anything like that?
Well, ice was a little hard to find, but I have taken some Advil.
And did that help at all?
A little.
Okay. And if you had to give it a number 1 to 10, tell me the worst possible pain, what would you say it's at?
Like a 4.
Okay. And after you took the Advil, what did it get down to?
Like a 3.5.
Okay, so help just a little. Any numbness, tingling, or weakness, anything like that?
No, just a little bit of stiffness when I try to turn it.
Okay.
And kind of move it a little, but overall, not too much stiffness, no. Or
Okay.
no
And
numbness. No.
Perfect. And while I have you here, I did notice that your blood pressure is really good. It was 128/68 today.
Yeah.
I saw you last month for your blood pressure, put you on that new medication, amlodipine. How are you tolerating that?
I've really been working at it, checking it every day, and
Okay.
I think it's good. I mean, it's 120/80.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's exactly where we want you
Okay,
to be.
great.
We want to be below 140/80,
Okay,
or 140/90.
perfect.
Great. And have you had any lightheadedness, dizziness, leg swelling, anything like that?
No, none
Okay.
of that. So I think
Perfect.
I'm doing pretty well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I do want to do an exam, so I'm going to have you get up on the exam table.
Okay.
And my medical assistant told me that you are from Seattle originally. Is that right?
I am, yes.
Okay. So I'm going there for work in a few weeks. Any suggestions
Lucky.
for me while I'm there?
Well, if you like seafood, I would highly recommend you visit the Pike Place Market.
Oh, yeah, that's
see
where,
where
like-
they throw the fish.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a
I don't
great-
like
it's
seafood, but I really
fun.
want to see that anyway. So that's
Well, it's really fun, but then there's some really good donuts there, so just go Just keep going and find the donuts.
Okay, that's more my speed. I'll find the donuts. Okay, so on exam, looking at your right wrist, I do see some subtle swelling on the dorsal aspect. I'm gonna have you move your wrist like this. So you do have some decreased range of motion in extension, normal flexion. Any tenderness when I press here?
Just a little bit on the outside.
Okay,
Yeah.
how about when I press here?
No, not too bad.
Okay, so some tenderness palpation over dorsal wrist, no tenderness over anatomic snuff box. So that's basically, I see some decreased range of motion. You do have some tenderness. I do see the swelling that you're talking about. Can you feel this when I'm touching your hand?
I can, yeah.
And then make a fist, try to grip me as strong as you can.
Yeah, it's a little sore there.
Okay, so you have normal strength, normal sensation. You have 2+ radial pulse. You have good pulse. You have normal sensation. So I was just checking to make sure there's any neurologic issues or neurologic damage, which I don't see anything like that. So that's good. And then your heart, normal rate, normal rhythm, no murmurs. That's normal. Your lungs are clear, so that's good. No concerns there. So let's talk about a plan for your right wrist pain.
Okay.
I would like to start with an x-ray. So I'll order a 2-view x-ray. I want you to do ibuprofen, but I'm gonna have you take 2 tabs every 4 to 6 hours.
Okay.
Take it with food. Sometimes it's helpful if you kind of get that in your system. It helps bring down inflammation, which can help the pain. And then I would do ice for 10 minutes 3 times a day. I would go to the ice machine in your hotel if that's where you are right now.
Okay, great idea.
Use that, okay?
Thank you.
And then once you kind of get back home, I would recommend that you, if it still hurts, maybe do some physical therapy or occupational therapy.
Okay.
Any
Great.
questions for me?
None. Thank you so much.
Okay, it's good to see you. Take care, okay? I
Thank
hope you
you.
feel better.
All right,
Also, I
thanks,
hope
doctor.
you got some good finds on your shopping trip and you still got to do that.
I did get a few things. Thank
That's
you.
good. Yeah. All right, so I stopped the encounter. We all should thank Olga for her help. Yeah. She was a good sport to jump in. And so after I stopped the encounter, the whole audio file, what it does is it goes up to the Microsoft Azure cloud. It gets run through the AI engine to create that draft clinical note. And so that will actually come back on my phone as well as through the desktop, so I can review that information in either location. On the phone, I will have access to the transcript as well if I want to reference what was stated during the conversation. I also can go back, because many times we're seeing multiple patients at once. I can move on and see my next patient. I can go back in and check on my last patient, or I can go see Olga again. Say I wanted to do an x-ray in the office, I do it live, go in and review the results with her. I can update that note with a second touch point or an audio file. So now we have our note back. You can see it's here on the phone. I personally think it's much easier to see because I can make it nice and big on the desktop version. So I'm going to do that for you here. And this information, there we go, is automatically accessible in both locations at the same time. And I'm going to zoom in. Now you guys tell me in the audience, can you read that okay? Awesome. Okay. So our engine will parse the data from the conversation into the appropriate sections. So the vast majority of it comes into what we call the history of present illness, which is the patient's perspective, the patient's story, the physical exam, and the assessment and plan. So here in the history of present illness, we see that she came in, she was having a right wrist injury, she's worried about a sprain. It goes in to document what's been going on with her, where the pain is, what she's tried, including the Advil, and what the pain scale is. So all the important, pertinent information that we need to have within the note. And then you can see that second paragraph is related to the blood pressure. So it will actually parse the data into different paragraphs based on the issues that are talked about. And what you're gonna notice that it took out is the fact that she was walking on Magnificent Mile, she was trying to shop, all the recommendations that she had for me in Seattle, because all of that's not pertinent to the actual issue that she came in with. So it will be filtered out by the engine. And then moving down, you're gonna see that it brought in our physical exam. And so it brought in any pertinent findings that we wanna have incorporated into the note, but it will filter out any layman's terms that I use to describe the symptoms to her or my explanation of what she needs to do for the exam. And then coming down at the bottom, you're going to see it brought in the 2 diagnoses as well as the treatment plan for the diagnoses. So now I have this automated draft note to help me with my documentation, slashing that workload for me pretty significantly. And this draft note is really just the beginning of what we can do. We can also layer in generative AI to the conversation and unlock additional value. And I'm going to show you some of that here within this Copilot button. Now that brings up these pre-formed prompts, we call them our AI actions, that we can do on this output. Now the top one, Apply My Style, is probably the most widely used because it allows the clinician to layer in their own preferences. It allows them to decide, do they want an output that has paragraphs or bullets? Do we have a verbose note or a concise note? So they can decide how they want that note output to look. And we are a very particular group of folks, so that's very helpful. We also can help give feedback on how to use a solution most effectively. We can summarize that conversation in different ways. And then I think my personal favorite are the last two. It allows us to take that conversation and create other documents that we have to do for many patients. Because creating that draft note is just part of what we have to do for every patient that we see. Now, the one I want to show you is the after visit summary. So this is actually a patient-friendly summary from that conversation that I can print out and give to the patient. And considering all of us have been a patient at some point in our lives, I think it's helpful to see how that conversation that we went through looks from that perspective. So we have a summary of what happened in patient-friendly language, all the clinical findings that I called out during the visit for transparency, the diagnosis, the treatment plan, and the follow-up that's recommended. Oftentimes, those visits are so quick, we go over a ton of technical information, and there's often questions after the fact. So this is really useful that you can have as you're leaving the office. So hopefully you can see how the technology can help both the clinician and the patient. And with that, I'm going to hand it back to Jake to take it from here. And let me move you back to your screen. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you to our patient. And Julie, thank you for the live demo. That takes some bravery, obviously. That's real technology. That was a real experience. And this, what you just saw, is used by tens of thousands of clinicians every single day in hundreds and hundreds of healthcare organizations. And it's just the beginning. And as you can see, it has the potential to change lives for clinicians and for patients. And I'm proud to be part of that and the team and connected to this mission. All right, so there's a lot more, though, that you can do. And we're going to talk about how organizations can customize these Copilot experiences and the AI stack, or they could build and partner to develop their own AI solutions and Copilots. And vertical adaptation for healthcare is also something that we've been deeply invested in on the Copilot and AI stack as well, so we can tailor these solutions to meet the needs of healthcare. And again, it's not just about using AI tools, it's about building solutions for your workflows with your data to meet your organizational goals and objectives. And so what you see on this slide, this is a framework that we show to represent how we think about building and extending all of our Copilot solutions. And whether that's extending and building on top of Microsoft Copilot, building your own Copilot, or innovating and automating AI throughout your business processes. And to remind you, this is the same framework that Microsoft Copilot is built on. And to start at the top of the stack, where if you're interested in extending the Microsoft Copilot or customizing that experience, remember that Microsoft Copilot, it's designed to provide that in-context workflow. It's AI-powered guidance across all surfaces. But every organization has unique needs, and they want to customize that experience. So for example, if you're a healthcare organization, and let's say that there's some sensitive topics and capabilities that you want to provide that require some guardrails. Well, you could leverage some of our capabilities and our services And you can add those guardrails over conversational topics that require an additional layer of sensitivity. And that's just one example how you might want to customize the Microsoft Copilot to fit your needs and challenges. Well, if you're an organization, you're looking to build your own AI and your own Copilot experiences, we can meet you there as well. So we've used this same end-to-end set of capabilities to build Microsoft Copilot. It's helped expedite and speed up our development cycles, and your organization can as well. So you can use your own data assets and combine that with our foundational models. Azure AI Studio, Azure Machine Learning, Azure OpenAI services, and of course our Azure AI infrastructure to develop and create those amazing Copilot experiences that your organization envisions. And as I said, we're verticalizing this capability in this stack for healthcare. And a few examples of that, right? So we've launched recently the Microsoft Fabric, healthcare data solutions in Microsoft Fabric, where organizations now, they can leverage some of our pre-built capabilities, for example, to work with FHIR or DICOM data, which is healthcare data sets, to make that easier. Or you can leverage some of our off-the-shelf new healthcare AI models available in Azure AI Studio that are aimed at solving very specific healthcare AI tasks. Or our healthcare agent service in Copilot Studio, where we've adapted healthcare safeguard capabilities as an example and expose those. So we're making these capabilities work seamlessly for healthcare's unique challenges and extending and verticalizing the entire stack. And of course, partnerships are how we ultimately will realize the impact and get the reach across healthcare. These partnerships, they amplify the impact across the healthcare ecosystem, allowing us to integrate deeply in those existing workflows and systems that exist in healthcare today. So for example, the Dragon and that Copilot experience you saw, we're embedding that application in electronic medical record systems, like Epic, for example. Elsewhere in the stack, some of those AI services, we're exposing and working and empowering PACS vendors or payers or other health and life sciences organizations so that they can build and develop their own AI experiences. Partners ultimately are key to our strategy to lead this AI innovation in healthcare. And so as we wrap up, the opportunity is very clear, hopefully. The challenges are very clear. We all need to lead this AI transformation in healthcare. And every organization is at a unique point in their own journey towards this. So whether you're focused on, again, moving your enterprise applications and solutions into the cloud, preparing your data for AI projects, or deploying one of our Copilots or extending those Copilots or building your own capabilities for AI. We have experts here at Ignite ready to meet with you and help you in your journey and your organizational objectives. A few specific call-outs. You should go up to the Healthcare Experience Zone. You can see some in-depth demos. You can definitely join tomorrow the Microsoft Cloud for Healthcare Partner Ecosystem session. You can reach out to your account representative and your account team, conduct an envisioning session to discuss your AI transformation. And of course, you can always go to aka.ms/cloud for healthcare to learn more about any of these solutions and other solutions we have to meet the needs of healthcare. So thank you, and please feel free to give us feedback and comments how we did, and thank you for your time this morning.